I just enjoy getting drunk and talking shit to you guys. Full honesty there.
Are you guys just being bitches now? Okay, I'm keeping it.
Yeah, SD's just being a bitch.
I get sick of you telling me what to do, to be honest.
7 magical genders.
Ignore the hentai I've got bookmarked. Oh, wait.
Glory, man, you know. If you have enjoyed tonight, I want to know what kind of drugs you're taking because I want to take some.
Hey, yo, what's going on? It's the TSUB. I got a Dingle, I got Gem, and I got SD. And of course, my lovely self R-Techz. We are 4 brothers in arms ready to take on the world with our debates. I hope we're all doing well. It's the 2nd season. We've got a whole other season before this, hence it's the 2nd one. Go and check that out if you like the content you're about to hear. Thank you to everyone tuning in live. If you guys want to say a little word about yourself, and then we'll get going. Dingle, what are you about?
I'm Dingle. I'm the gamer. I'm the Dingle Games. If you like us, you can go check us out on Dingle Games. We play games over there. We have a laugh, and yeah, I'm Dingle, and yeah.
And
cool,
I'm Gem. I'm just some guy. I'm nerdy. We recorded Straight Up Warlords yesterday, so I'm in the process of making that video. And otherwise, yeah, I'm just some dude who chats with people on the internet.
He's itching to speak. Go on, SD.
Yeah. I'm SD. I'm a centralist where I believe that both the left and right make good points, but most of the people I'm involved with are retarded. Most of them decide to conflict and shout and scream and be very nasty to each other, but that's just who I am. I like to provoke that conversation. Some people can't handle it. So if you like hearing both sides rather than one side just howling Bloody Mary, I'm your guy.
Hello, Paul, for tuning in. How are you doodling? Hope all is well. I literally spoke to you earlier, so I presume you're doing just the same as you were. Me and Dingle hopefully have a new horror game to play as well, just to quickly plug that before we get going. If not, it will be some game somewhere somehow. We got 2 subjects. One is about, well, it's a serious one, which is about lovely Walt Disney and the live-action remakes or reboots, remasters, retards, whatever you want to call it. And then we've got Gem. Do you want to quickly say what yours is, Gem, and we'll get started?
Mine is whether story is necessary in video games. I think yes, but I want to know what everyone else's opinion is. But let's get on with.
What I'm going to do is read off everything from 2015 to 2023. And basically this is so we can have a discussion. I don't know if any of us have seen any of these, but I think we're all in the know enough to have some about all of the classic Disney films, right? These aren't in order, but you'll get through the titles.
I get sick of you telling me what to do, to be honest.
Let's talk about. We can talk about it after we've gotten to the part of actual talking. For now, can you all see what's on my screen? Ignore the hentai I've got bookmarked. Oh, wait. And
Space whale.
And so what we have is Alice Through the Looking Glass. We all know what that is. Alice in Wonderland. See if I can click on these and get a bigger picture of them. Wow, no, that went smaller. Okay, I'm not going on images, so you guys can see that well enough. All right, Pinocchio. I'll say the ones that I think look and sound, because I've seen reviews of at least half of these. They, from reviews and from my knowledge, people can jump in at the end. So I want to get through all of these quickly. So Alice to the Looking Glass, Alice in Wonderland, obviously. I'm going to be honest, I didn't hear much about that, whether good or bad. Pinocchio, I didn't hear much about that one. I'm not doing that one. I didn't even know there were Maleficent
or something, whatever the fuck it is called.
That's it. It's not
Maleficent.
Yeah, I was going to say, I knew it was. I didn't know there was a second one.
I didn't know that. Massive bitch.
Well, basically, yeah. I didn't know there was a second one in the first place
I'm fine now.
until I looked at this list. So that was all you need to know about that. Dumbo, I heard bits about it, like average. Oh, there's the popularity one down, I guess. Lion King, I heard mostly good reviews on, very good reviews actually. Maleficent, whatever her name is, the first one. Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. Adam, I heard mostly good reviews. But people were saying Will Smith just seemed a bit odd to be the genie, Lady in the Lamp. This one I didn't realise it did a remake, so there you go. Peter Pan and Wendy, from my knowledge and views I've heard, they made Wendy to be out the main star and cast Peter Pan aside to be the background character because woman power defied the patriarchy and all that. The Little Mermaid, the Eddie was talking about, she is not white. They've changed her race pretty much, played by Halle Bailey, is that how you say her name?
Hello, Barry.
Halle Bailey.
Yeah, Halle Bailey. Yeah, I always thought it was
Harry Bailey.
Harry Bailey.
Really,
Her name is, so she does look, she looks strange for the role, in my opinion. And I don't remember her getting good. I think that got crushed to the ground. Beauty and the Beast. This is one that I actually saw because I was getting a girl at the time and we were in bed, so I kind of exactly know. And it was pretty crap, actually, but I don't remember liking the original, so I'm biased. Christopher Robin, I heard a bit about that when it came out. I mean, just
Yeah, McGregor, baby.
Yeah, again, Mulan, I heard mostly good about. I don't remember hearing anyone about that. Cruella, I mean, Emma Stone's in it. So next, the Jungle Book, another one I did hear good things about. Obviously, we're not talking about the 1994 one. I don't know why it says that there. But the 20 something one it was, I heard good things. Cinderella, she is Caucasian here from the looks of it. So there you go. Just to point out, I'm saying this for a reason. Peace Dragon, never even heard of that. So that's that. And there's the Jungle Book one I was talking about. Boom. And there's one more we're going to lead with in this discussion. Hello, Paul. I feel like a cuck. Okay, that's lovely, mate. So, boom.
Oh, yeah, this one.
Oh, fucking hell, yeah.
You guys might have seen this. This is the worst yet. And I know I've been talking for a while. I'm going to say my piece on this. I'm going to say my piece on this, and then we'll go round. And because Eddie is gagging to talk, I'm going to form to go last. So what we have here is someone. There's two things. Okay. Firstly, Snow White described in the fairy tale, whatever you want to call it, even what it's based off, like the actual, like the story is actually the story's based off, if you get me, is to do with Snow White, and obviously, well, not obviously, we might not know the rhyme, and I can't remember the rhyme, but it's something like Snow White, his face is as white as the snow, hence why her name is Snow White. And it's very clear, and jet black hair, all that is very much set in stone. There's nothing racially profiling about that. It's very simple stuff here. I just remember there was. Yeah. But anyway, they've got an actress, on it, and who actually, I don't know where she's from, but she's not Snow White. Sorry to say, but she just isn't. Goes against the whole what the character's meant to bloody stand for. But the biggest laugh and joke of all of this is when this came out. Gem already know this from the sounds of it. People thought it was a joke, and Disney came out and said this isn't a real photo. Hours later, they came back, reposted it, or I don't know if they reposted it, but they came back with the post, and they were like, "Oh, actually, it is real." So that shows you how in adept. She looks Brazilian. You're right, Paul. Yeah, I'll say Brazilian, maybe Argentinian or something. So that's just one of the biggest. Anyway, I'm ranting now. Back to the fruit of it. The meat of it, I should say. These 7 people are now not called the 7 dwarves, they are called the 7 magical creatures. Now, on the surface, this might seem like a small thing. But what I'm getting at is what who Dingle will know who I'm talking about. I can't remember his name, but you know I'm just going to say small person. I'm going to be very careful with my words here. The small person who wrestled in WWE, Hornswoggle or something?
Hornswoggle.
Yeah.
Hornswoggle, yeah.
That's quite close. So whoever that guy's name is, I saw an interview with him, and Peter Dinklage being obviously one of the biggest small people to do a role in Game of Thrones ever, thinks he speaks to the whole damn community. So he came out and he said he basically put his own kind, as it were. So if that's an offensive term, I don't mean like that. I'm just saying people like him are being put out of jobs, and these are big roles. Like Snow White is one of the biggest stories of all bloody time. And they would get paid loads and lots of recognition could lead to other roles. And instead, out of the 7 dwarfs that are not dwarfs, they only got one dwarf. One dwarf out of all these people. And it's, I mean, I don't know, Peter Dinklage is quite frankly doomed. He's doomed more by saying that. And now look what's going to cause. So I hope he's happy with himself. I think he's all that. And you're right, Paul, it is a joke, yeah. But that's it. Sorry, I've gone on a bit because, I've been waiting to do this subject for a long time. But I will now calm down, go and drink some water because I'm feeling a bit parched. Let's say I said SD to go last, didn't I? So we're going to start off with Gem. What do you think on this whole matter? Should it have happened? Do you agree with it? Yada yada. Tell us your thoughts.
Part of me doesn't really care. Gonna be completely honest. Like, I don't really watch the live action Disney stuff unless it's one of the stories that I actually, enjoyed. So like Mulan, I will watch that one. Pinocchio, I have watched parts of it, and the live action one is actually really good. As for Snow White, I don't really care about Snow White as a character. Yes, you are right that she is supposed to be, white as a piece of paper, but honestly, it doesn't really play into her character at all, apart from, it being a stereotype of someone so pale and white was considered beautiful at the time, when now people would be like, get out and see some sun, touch some grass, man. As for the 7 dwarfs, Peter Dinklage coming out and saying, "Oh yeah, Snow White and the 7 dwarfs, the 7 dwarfs shouldn't all be dwarfs or whatever." The problem is that apart from people who actually work in Hollywood, nobody can name 7 small people in the industry, and there are loads of them. We know this because they are in loads of different things, but none of them are ever in big roles. You know for a fact that Peter Dinklage would have been one of the roles had he not spoken out about this.
He made from Games of Thrones.
Yeah, he's
in one of the Thors as well, isn't he?
I liked him. I liked him in Games of Thrones.
He was in Infinity War.
That's the one. But he was like a giant dwarf.
Yeah, he was massive. Because dwarves in that thing aren't actually dwarves, but the problem is that dwarves have a big place in fantasy culture, in fantasy storytelling.
Damn straight.
Like they're supposed to be angry Scottish people who drink lots of beer.
Yeah, stereotype. It
is a stereotype.
Right, we're not racially profiling these creatures, are they?
Yeah, we're not. But
we don't call them creatures either.
Exactly, they're people.
Well, they do. So,
but they're now doing these 7 magical creatures. But let's be entirely honest, they all just look like different people. I'm pretty sure that one at the front is probably going to turn out to be a gay guy.
The 7 magical genders.
That's good. That's good.
But
Oh, for fuck's sake.
How long were you waiting to say that, SD? Fucking hell.
Oh my God.
It's in his script.
Names came to mind.
it's one of those things where, like, I don't care if it was like 7 short people of the different races and different genders rather than all being white male short people. But the fact of the matter is that now that they've then been forced to go and verify them, but then not actually make them look fantastical.
Mm. Yeah, there looks like
Like-
no effort put in there whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you're gonna do 7 magical creatures, actually make them look like 7 magical creatures.
Mm.
Like, you could have had a satyr, a minotaur, a elf.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, if they
But
wanted to
instead
play
you-
it safe like that, they could have done one of each. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But instead now they're doing just 7 random people.
Yeah.
7 random people.
It's
Ah,
just
you're
ridiculous.
not wrong. Yeah, you're not wrong. Okay. Well, if you're
don't
done,
get-
or Karen, sorry.
Don't get me wrong, like, people of color and women and, you know, people who identify in different ways, they should get representation on the screen. But at the same time, if you're gonna change something so dramatically, actually put effort into the change rather than just going, oh, they're 7 magical creatures, but they're literally just 7 people, one who's short, and the rest are just of different races, genders, and backgrounds. Like that, they're not magical creatures, they're just people. They're just 7 random people.
Mm.
Anyway, I'm done.
All right, Dingle, you know it's you next. Give me all your.
I think it's bizarre, and I think it's because we live in a world now where you everyone gets offended by. I think it's ridiculous. It started off Cinderella and the 7 dwarfs, and now because everyone in the world Snow White. Yeah,
I'm clipping that.
Snow White,
I'm clipping
yeah.
that.
That's
Snow
quite
White.
a
I sound like SD, don't I? I can talk without my lips moving. I can't now. Yeah, it's. I just think the world's gone crazy. I mean, I don't know what to say about it apart from I think it's ridiculous. And I think it's because everyone's too worried about it's that cancel culture again, isn't it?
Mm.
Pretty much comes to that. Like you can't say anything without people wanting to cancel you. You know, hello Barnes. Just one. You know what I mean? It's I do watch Disney films with my daughter, but it's going to be a complete different film now. If they're going to change the title, then the title, it's not the same film, is it?
No.
It's
It's really not.
it'd be like pretty much like copyright.
Oh, I didn't know that. Paul said in a new Cinderella they had a gay black fairy. That's news to me. Carry on.
I don't really know much to say on it. I just think it's bizarre, and every day, there's something new. I think it's because everyone's worried about, that they're going to offend the wrong people, and everyone gets offended so easily these days. This is why they changed it to 7 wonder. Was it 7 wonder? Was it?
What,
Magical
7
creatures.
7 Wonderwalls.
7 Wonderwalls.
7 magic creatures.
Magic creatures. It's just bizarre.
Magic
It's bizarre. You can't. It's all about not upsetting the wrong community because there's a community for everything now. Go on TikTok. There's people going trans women are women. Well, they're not if you put trans in front of it, and it's trans women.
Lose.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
There's so many people you want to go on social media and have a laugh in that, but you got these people that are live and debating what's this and what makes it, and it's. I kind of hate the world that we're going into. Sorry. That's it. I think it's pathetic, and I think this is why I enjoy gaming on Dingle Games. Go check it out. Where you can just escape reality. That's what I love doing. Go into a world where you can just like Vermintide, escape reality.
Because it's a world of make-believe.
Yeah, and that's,
come true.
This is where I get out of the books and find out that your character is gay.
Yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me after recent.
No. I don't know what to say about it. It annoys me because it's the world we live in now, and you can't do nothing. You can't even smile without upsetting someone that don't have teeth. Don't say, "Oh, he's smiling. He's smiling. He's got teeth." I ain't. I'm gonna sue him.
True. Yeah. There's people like saying that you're fat phobic if you're encouraging people to lose weight. What sort of boast is that?
Oh yeah. It's bizarre. I don't know what else to say on it. It annoys me. I think people should just fucking man the fuck up and deal with it. You're gonna get the world, but people go on social media and expect everyone to be friendly and that they're not, and they don't like it and they get upset, so they start protesting. I went on social media and someone said I was too fat. Of course they did, because you are. To get off social media, then. You know what I mean? If you can't handle it, don't do it. But back on topic, it's all, don't want to upset the wrong crowd, so we name it this. It's just pathetic to me. Pathetic.
We'll go to SD shortly, if you can hold your tongue for a few more seconds. Boone said in the process of trying to include everyone and not offending anybody, it creates a different atmosphere and doesn't feel the same. I agree 100%. And you leave out, and in by not my mic then. In by trying to include everyone, you exclude others. Yeah, there's not really a win-win situation for any of this. SD, go on. You can have your moment in the spotlight.
Disney films.
Go on.
Not a fan of all of them. Most of them, in my childhood when I was younger. You all have this like rose-tinted glasses where you're watching the old films, and you watch them and like you're in awe of like fucking hell, these Disney films are amazing. And then as you get older, you watch them again, and it's like, oh, I actually get some of the adult humour in there.
Yeah.
And but it's like it rather than writing new stories, they reinvent the old ones. But they don't reinvent the old ones in the sense of, right, let's respect the storyline. This is what's happened. This is canon. They go, right, we have a sector of the population that we have to make happy. So, all right, okay, what's hot topic at the moment? Oh, BLM, Black Lives Matter. Okay, let's make the role model black. Is that canon to the old story? No. Why don't you just write a new fucking story and stop being fucking lazy?
Yeah.
I mean, for Christ's sake, you got Mulan, what, Chinese? Why not?
Mulan was originally Chinese, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Mulan was Asian descent.
Yeah.
Asian descent,
even the name the name gives it away.
Yeah.
Why not just write a story about a fucking black woman, an African in Africa, about some kind of fucking thing that happened in their country?
So specific.
Why reinvent, say, The Little Mermaid? I don't really give a fuck because it's a Little Mermaid. Who cares? But it's my little girl. That's like, oh my god, Little Mermaids and other shit. Oh my god, it's crazy because I don't know. I'm a little girl, that sort of thing. It's amazing. To them, it's like that's the whole world because they're a child. They're supposed to like dream big, if you know what I mean. I mean, yeah, I get it. Oh look. Black people need something to prove to. But it's like, well, Disney, a multi-billion-dollar corporation, they come up with their own fucking stories. Stop shitting on the old ones.
That's what I mean. People, if they want to do this so badly, all this diversity, then I agree. They why not be original and and do with that. Like the Cleopatra thing, they made Cleopatra black, which is quite clearly all the evidence we've all been taught she was not black.
European.
Hence why Gal Gadot's
Eastern
playing
European.
Cleopatra in the next movie.
Asian.
Yeah, I mean, she damn sure wasn't white, but she wasn't black either.
She was Greek. She was white.
She's Greek. What, Greek counts as white?
It's European, isn't it? Greek European.
It's close to Asian.
That's a good question, actually.
Egyptian, closer to that.
Yeah.
No, she was Greek. She grew up in Greece and then moved to Egypt and then became a queen.
I wasn't actually finished, but
Anyway, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I wanted to just fit that in there, that was all, but you may proceed.
Just Disney, for fuck's sake, make original stories about black people, because that's what they want. They don't want some remake about some fucking princess that was white, is now black, just to appease the fucking retards who push Black Lives Matter. What do you call it?
All agrees with USD, so you got his
Free
approval.
slaves. No, you're free to do what you want to do. As soon as you stop acting freed and you start acting free, you make the world a better place. I mean, for Christ's sake, the voice of God,
Me.
Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman, he said, how do you stop racism?
I know what you're going to say.
Stop talking about it.
Yeah, amen.
Here's the voice of God. If black people want to listen to anyone, listen to that cunt.
Just don't call him a cunt.
It's crazy, everything.
You did it really well, and then you said that.
Crazy, man.
Is God. Morgan Freeman is God. That's how he will be known.
Oh, he plays as God, yeah.
His fucking life and the rest of eternity. He was the voice. Is always the voice of God.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Stop talking
Obviously,
about it.
obviously, other people have played God in other films. By the way, he's not the only person to play God ever.
The whole Disney thing.
Wow.
Disney themselves, what German made? Anti-Semites.
German made.
Disney isn't German made; they're American. But
yeah, they were friends.
The leader.
They were friends with them.
The actual Walt Disney himself is rumored to have been anti-Semitic, but I've never actually seen any actual evidence of it.
It was to do with Mickey Mouse being a racist or something, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, it just seems that Disney is just being lazy. Going to that point there.
It's not just Disney.
Disney being lazy, not writing new stories, flogging a dead horse. If you've ever been to Disneyland, no one has died at Disneyland because they're not pronounced dead until they leave the premises.
Okay, can I just go back on something there?
I didn't want to finish my point, but I don't. Okay, go on then.
Disney have always been lazy because they've always stolen stories from elsewhere. Like most of their fairy tales are from the Grimm tales and all of that.
Yeah, they're mainly based on true stories, aren't they?
They're mainly based on like former fairy tales or true stories. So they never actually write their own stuff. The Lion King is the only original story that they've ever done.
Oh, that's
That
intriguing.
Peter Pan one was weird.
Obviously, when they do the sequels are originals as well, but then the sequels are usually never put on movie in the cinema or anything.
They never canon as well.
Pardon?
They never canon.
Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not.
Depending on what they do at the box office.
Yeah, basically. How well they do sell.
Massive flop for Little Mermaid.
The main thing is that it's not just Disney that are lazy, it's everyone who pushes for this kind of stuff with the inclusivity in that. Is that all the people who push for it never say, oh yeah, we need to make a new story with our characters that represent us. They always say, oh yeah, take this story and make it our stuff. And it's always annoying because you're literally, taking something and just pissing on it for the fans of that thing originally, just because you want your identity there. Like,
Yeah, and you don't want the company's name in a bad light. You know what I mean, you want to keep
here's the thing: all Latin and black men in America, all Latin boys and black boys in America, absolutely love Dragon Ball Z.
Mm.
And Dragon Ball Z does not have any Latin or black characters in it.
That's intriguing.
That's because Goku isn't a character who is based on his race. Goku is a character based on his character. If you know what I mean. He's written well, so people can relate to him. It doesn't matter what race you are or what kind of person, what your background is. If you can relate to a character, then you relate to them. It's not a visual thing. You don't always relate to someone who has the same skin color as you. If they're written well.
Goku's an alien anyway, isn't he?
Yeah.
So it's not actually part of our race.
He's also a alien with a monkey tail who turns into a giant gorilla when there's a full moon.
My type of guy.
I mean, yeah.
And, at least until he cuts his tail off, and then he doesn't do that. But
Can I fire it back round a bit to back to Disney?
Continue.
I'm sorry I have to sideline the Goku thing. With Disney, like all the other fucking piece of shit filmmakers, they want to appeal to diversity. Now, I've seen, don't get me wrong, white films turn into black films, but I've never seen any black films turned into white films. For instance, would you ever see Daft with an all-white cast or Boys in the Hood with an all-white cast? It's never black to white. It's always white to black that they post.
Yeah, because that's not the
diverse.
Technically, Shaft, due to the context of his story, there have been plenty of Shaft movies made in the same context with white people.
Really?
It's not a one-to-one comparison. It's not a white person saying exactly the same lines as Shaft and doing things in that way. But because it's a detective story of a detective going rogue to do the right thing, there are loads of white ones of those. Just saying.
I've never seen it. It's like when they tried to change James Bond to a black man.
I never heard of it, to be fair.
They want to make James Bond black at some point. But there's this black bloke about, I think it's about 8 years ago, predicting it and going, don't make James Bond black. And he just goes on going, no, you're not James Bond. You're more like Jerome Bond, Jean Bond, but not James.
Well, that sounds. There's actually a point to make, though. So people might disagree with the Doctor Who and the James Bond. Now, with this Disney stuff, hold on, wait. No, I hate Doctor Who, but that's not the point. The point I am making. Okay.
Can R-Techz make his point, please?
Let me just say this. The fact that with the Disney ones, I'm more annoyed, and I didn't even watch these. Just to point out. But of course there's a but. With Doctor Who is an alien. Doctor Who is not human. So these writers and these people can get away with it being a woman. I actually didn't know that when I first started watching Doctor Who. Well, I only really watched it when I was young. I never really found out till I was an adult that he was even an alien in the first place. And I was like, oh, okay. And as soon as I found out, I just went silent. Because I was like, well, it's a fucking alien. It's not even human. And with James Bond, either you haven't seen the last one or you forgot. But they can easily do whatever they want with that now, and I wouldn't really have a problem with it. I think if they changed the gender, if they changed race, it wouldn't matter. Because spoiler alert, do you guys want me to carry on?
I've already seen it.
Doctor Who, as long as it's canon, it doesn't matter. As long as it's canon and it follows the storyline, it's fine because he's a fucking alien.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, I'm just going to say it. I'm going to say the spoiler alert because I need to finish what I'm saying with this, otherwise I won't say it at all. With that, the Doctor Who thing, Alien, the James Bond thing, and the last James Bond, sorry for anyone watching, you haven't seen it, he dies.
Yeah.
Daniel Craig dies, at least we can only presume, right? That's what it's made out to. Like, that's well, we can only go on what they're expecting us to think.
Character, then turn them anything else.
But they were going to do the Jane Bond, wouldn't they?
It won't be James Bond. Exactly, yeah, it'll be Jane Bond.
Yeah. You might as well change the whole film.
It would be 007. It's who would replace 007. At this point, James Bond wouldn't even...
James Bond is an identity.
In the last movie, we met the person who replaced 007. It was a black woman.
Yeah.
Well, they might as well change the whole film then.
But no, she's not James Bond, though. She's a different character who has the 007 tag.
Yeah.
Because it's an identity, isn't it? It's...
So
the next one will be a biracial Asian black woman. Who doesn't fuck the enemy to death. It uses giant dildos to whack them to death.
She plays mind games with them.
I don't think they'll be able to get away with that, SD.
It'll be Louis Spence.
I don't think that they would be able to get that into a movie and have it be... It's normally a 15, isn't it? For
15, it might be a 12, yeah. I'm just going to read what Paul said, SD, and then I'll let you properly finish, as long as you're not going to take too long. But Paul said, I think people nowadays are too soft and need to toughen up because that's being fed information by these idiots online. And that's what he said. But go on, SD, I'll let you wrap up what you said.
This stuff is bullshit. And Disney, for fuck's sake, be more imaginative. Write your own fucking stories about black people. Stop rewriting your own stories, you fucking lazy cunts. And stop pushing the fucking woke agenda. It's not getting you anywhere. The only people it affects are the fucking dumb and the very uninteresting who have nothing with substance with their lives.
The only thing suffering is our teeth.
What
he said.
Okay, so there's that final thoughts, SD, on that Disney shabam. We'll go the opposite. Dingle, it's up to you. What do you reckon about all of this crap?
That, you know, the Men in Black film was great. And I think I vote for Tyler Perry as president. So that's my final thoughts.
I don't know. I thought you were going to say related to anything.
I thought you were going to say something about making it Men in White, but then you went on a complete different shabam.
Well, you know, the Men in Blue. I don't know, but carry on. Tyler Perry as president. Do it.
Okay. On that note, Jem, it's your turn.
My final thoughts. Basically, if you are going to do a story about people of color, I do agree with SD that it needs to be really something that is written about them, for them, and that everyone else can then pay to watch and see. Because the thing is that Pixar have been doing it really well with their animated stuff.
Pixar.
Like, was it Encanto was a really good story about Latin people. Oh, what was that Red Panda one? That was a really good story about Asian people. You know, and those were original stories. So it's not like Disney can't do it because Pixar do it, and Disney own Pixar. So why can't they just take that creativity and put that into live action stuff as well, rather than going, oh yeah, right, we want to make this character. No, we want to make this story, but because of people complaining about it being too white or us whitewashing the character, we're going to instead change it so that it's a person of color rather than, you know, doing the original story. It is silly. They need, if you want a role model for people of color, then that role model needs to be from a culture that is related to those people of color. Even if it's just, you know, a new Spider-Man, where that Spider-Man is Indian or that Spider-Man is Middle Eastern, or
They did that Miles
they've got
Morales,
these.
didn't
Yeah, they've got these. The multiverse one is full of them.
exactly.
There's even a pig.
If you've seen across the multiverse, across the Spider-Verse, I mean, you do actually meet the Indian Spider-Man, and he is amazing. He's like such a great character. So
I did have a joke I was going to make, but I'm going to hold it in.
Again, it's not like they can't do it, but at least put effort in rather than just going, oh yeah, we'll take this character and change their race, or we'll take these characters and just make them 7 random people rather than having one uniform statement to say about them.
Yeah, well, they're effectively destroying legacies because they sideline the main character to make him out something that's completely not. Yeah. Hello, Bex. Thank you for saying I suck. I usually do on Sundays, so it is Saturday. So for 3 more hours, I am straight. But hello and welcome. Yeah, we're going to go to the next topic then if we're all ready and raring. I've been R-Techz. I think
Gaming.
I'm going to... Yeah, gaming. I'm not really going to do my final thoughts. I think I've said I've said enough on it. I've had my say. So we have Jem, and he's going to take you through the gaming side of things. Let's go.
My topic is story necessary for video games? Again, I believe yes, but then there is caveats to my belief. Like, you know, a game like Football Manager, you write a story for that, nobody's going to want to play that story. However, you know, you go to a different game and go to, say, Call of Duty. I would say the worst Call of Duty was the one where they decided we're not going to have a single player campaign in it.
What was that?
That was Black Ops 4. That they just went, oh yeah, it's only going to have multiplayer, no single player. The only other thing is zombies will be in it, but yeah, it's all multiplayer. All the story is hidden behind you unlocking all the characters, blah blah blah, and all that script. And it's like, fuck off! I wanted a single player story. This is what I play video games for. I don't have enough funds to get on.
That's what you've been fed for years of COD, and suddenly they just don't throw one.
It's like Killing Floor don't have a story, do they? The second one.
Yeah,
second one doesn't.
The thing is that some games can get away with it if they're built around it, and they don't have a massive legacy of having a storyline. Like Vermintide does kind of have a story in it, but it's, with the way that you can play it, it can be really disjointed. So you might be playing in Helmgart one mission, and then Karak, Jaraz, or whatever it was, and then whatever the other places were. You can be all over the place, or you can follow the storyline as it is, depending on how you decide to play the game, whether you decide to host all of the missions and that.
I'm presuming that means Dingle's agreeing with you. Hello.
Yeah. But yeah, ultimately, certain games require you to have an input of story yourself. Like I said, FIFA, Football Manager. If someone made a written story for those games, they wouldn't be as enjoyable as the story that you would create yourself by going, I'm gonna play as the manager of Pool Town and bring them all the way from Conference South to the top of the Premier League and win all of the trophies. Or I'm gonna be the manager of Man United and have them win the Premier League and just continue winning and keep them right at the top.
Yeah. Now you're speaking Dingle's language now.
Yeah, I'm speaking Dingle's language because I know that he's a Man U fan.
We'll give it away.
We're just guessing, mate. We're just guessing.
One of my brothers is a Man U fan as well, so.
Smart.
Glory, Man United.
But yeah, someone wouldn't enjoy Football Manager if it was just they probably wouldn't even play it. If there was a story mode where you had to go through certain things in your story, rather than you going, I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna start off at the bottom and work my way up, or I'm gonna start at the top and try and stay as far up at the top as possible.
I mean, FIFA did try and they did the journey, and some people loved it. I didn't think FIFA needed a storyline. I think you got career mode. You could play as your character, but you can also after the season ends and you won the trophies, you can either put in a transfer fee to go and do another season in like Spain. That's cool. Yeah. But the journey mode where you play as this character, and I was not at all interested in it. I was more interested in the football. I don't care about stories in football games. I don't feel like I need them.
See, you've proven my point. Like,
I guess it's sport games, isn't it? Like sport games in general. I don't think I'd ever want a story in a sport game. Like, no matter what it is. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean,
apart from wrestling.
They release every year. It's the same game, just two teams.
Different mechanics and graphics and
updated players. Updated player lists.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Rocket. Imagine if Rocket. I'm sorry, but imagine if Rocket League had a story, right? Like I can tell you now, that would be dreadful, and I enjoy playing that game.
Maybe if Death Rush.
It wouldn't be bloody Rocket League then, would it? Cool. I wouldn't cater to any youngers.
In a world where cars of the same color all play giant football, you are the orange team.
Well, it wouldn't be the same game if they made it Death Race, where if you didn't win the game, you would die.
Real life?
Yeah, real life. Yeah, real life or in the game.
They're like a saw game. So you got a finger on your neck.
Yeah,
you don't win, you die.
You'd be sweating in the chest when you're like, please, I need to score. Let me score.
But yeah, I mean, you guys get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I completely get what you mean. Some games, perfect. Story's great. Some just don't need it. Like sports games, don't need it. Like just.
No. Apart from wrestling, would we agree wrestling does?
Mind you,
wrestling.
wrestling. I suppose, yeah.
I would say any like street racing games as well. Like,
Yeah, I know that. Was it
the old
new
Need for
Gran
Speeds.
Turismo? The new Gran Turismo, I think it's new Gran. They're trying to add a story into it. So
SD would know about that.
All I can
Right.
say is Rip Gran Turismo.
What? RIP Gran Turismo, did you say?
Yeah, RIP Gran Turismo.
Sooner or later, do you reckon there's going to be some wokies coming in? There'll be trans Turismo.
Trans Turismo.
I tried to say about laughing, but damn it.
Turismo.
Well, SD came up with a good one about the magical Jeddas, so I thought I would have my little funny title. But yeah, you're right. I mean, some games I don't give a damn for. I mean, Killing Floor, I don't care much for the story. Left 4 Dead, I don't care much for the story. Games where you're in and out, simple games.
Vermintide.
Even Vermintide, yeah, I really don't give a shit about that story, I must admit.
No, Vermintide.
You know what I mean? Earthfall, didn't really care about the story in that.
I'm trying to think of those now.
Yeah, Fortnite. I get why Fortnite have a story to implement new aesthetics within the game, so I do get why they have it, but I don't give a damn about it. But RPGs, good RPGs are holding on by a thread at the moment. And yeah, but I mean, an RPG, a role-playing game. I mean, if that doesn't have a good story, then
yeah, that's what it's mainly based on, isn't it?
Yeah,
made up.
The RPGs are based on the tabletop RPGs like Dungeons and Dragons and that. In those games, you actually tell your own story. But that's a very difficult thing to do in CRPGs. So that's why they do come with a story. But usually those stories are really well written because they're written by people who I came up with this story for my tabletop group, and then they never actually played it. So here's the story.
none of my friends liked it, but some strangers might.
Yeah.
So never mind how clever the stories is. Some wank will find it racist.
Yeah, or transphobic.
Or sexist.
Yeah.
All the above, or Ryanist.
Transmisso.
Or straight up bustasist. Straight up bustasist. Oh, fucking hell. That sounded so weird. But you're right. I think. Whoa. Okay. I think single adventure player games need to have. They depend on a great story.
Yeah.
I think any single player game. Really, I'm trying to think of one. I mean, there are some classics that the stories were wank. Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, Banjo-Kazooie, Donkey Kong, like all these like real oldies. I know I'm going off a bit on timelines there. Mario, Sonic, like these all different type, but pre 90s games. Or even might be 90s actually, but all of those stories weren't good. Like in my opinion, I haven't heard of a single story from any of those I've just named. And because it doesn't need it. If I'm going around smashing boxes and sliding into turtles and doing cool jumps and running away from massive bears in the forest, like just having fun. I don't care about how the baddies got here. I just kill shit. But yeah, that's how I feel.
Kill shit, engage.
Dodging barrels and climbing up ladders.
Yeah, we'll see on about the game. But you know what I mean? Like it's easy because it's easy gameplay. You pick it up, you can have play the game, sit back down and go to sleep, or I don't know how anyone else does their time apart from gaming. It comes silly. But yeah, no, I know. So I don't think it's essential, no, but I do think it plays quite a big part. I think most games should have a story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Overall. Sports games, I agree with all of you. Apart from wrestling, I do one of my best gaming moments has been when I've done a make up your own character wrestler and you've done a career. And you make decisions and you sort of have like a romance and that sort of stuff. That's cool. But I'll just quickly say this. Paul said storylines make the player emotionally invested into it. Bam on. That's why Mass Effect, I adore that fucking series because it gets you hooked.
I mean, look at like Red Dead Redemption 2. I mean, I fell in love with the story to that, but because it's so open world, they had more things you could do after the story, and there's still like little quests and all that, blah blah blah. But I fell in love with Arthur Morgan. You know, may he rest in peace. But there are games out there that just don't need them, and some that Rockstar, their story mode. Wow.
What do you drink?
What, GTA?
GTA, the story mode to that was great. Also, it's an open world, so you had like quests as well that you could do. And it's just more, if you're going to do a story, make sure you put other things in the game than just a story.
And fetch and return missions, for fuck's sake.
Yes, Elder Scrolls. Come on.
Preston, Fallout 4.
The only thing worse than a fetch and return mission is an escort mission.
Oh no! And you have the chance they're going to get stuck on something as well. Oh
yeah,
no. Well, they couldn't fight. It's even worse when it's or they stand in your line of fire, or they go the wrong way. Oh, there's so many things that could go wrong when escort missions. Amen to that, Gem. I don't often say this. Want to hear more from this dude?
Well, they don't fucking do what you tell them to.
Yeah, exactly. Eat and just runs ahead.
Still exactly there. I'm going to fight the enemy. 3 seconds later, they're in the line of sight. It's like, what are you doing?
Mission
I
failed.
told you to stay fucking 300 meters fucking behind me.
There was a mission on Mass Effect, Gem. I don't know if you did it. I can't remember which one. I'm going to be honest. I think it was the first one. But you had to. It was one of the most monotonous quests I've ever done in my life. And I never finished it for this very reason. You had to find about 30 of the keepers. I think they were literally called the keepers of the Citadel.
Oh yeah,
the insect type creatures. Yeah.
I've never actually got to the end of doing that quest. I've gotten to like 20 odd, and then I've triggered the second quest in that quest line.
Ooh.
And if you finish that in a certain way, you can no longer do that quest anyway.
Yeesh. I didn't even get that far, mate. It was because they don't give you any markers, do they? So you might think you found a new one, and you're like, "Oh, I've done this one."
There's maps online that you can use, but again,
I mean that's
you get really bored of just walking around the Citadel trying to get them all.
Yeah, indeed.
Like you said, there's supposed to be 30 of them. Like I think the most I've ever got is like 21 before the second quest.
I think mine was like 12 or something. But what makes it worse in 1 or 2 is you can't sprint when you're on the Citadel. At least in 3, you can actually go at some decent pace. I think a story is paramount. I mean, and it's funny because other people who don't game like at all, they don't really grasp it, do they? Like everyone knows that a film has a story because everyone knows a book has a story, but it seems to be everyone knows pornography. Gaming has a story, but they just don't acknowledge it. Like they think it's basic compared to all the other forms of media, and they really don't.
They don't understand that when you have to actually physically interact with the story, that then makes the story more complex, but also allows you to have more of a connection to the story.
Yes,
when you're watching
more freedom.
Yeah, when you're watching a movie, you only connect through empathizing with the characters. You don't connect by actually having to make the choices yourself. The same with if you're reading the book, again, you're only empathizing with the thoughts of the characters that are the point of view characters. don't get the chance to actually, make a choice yourself unless you've got one of those choose your own adventure books.
True.
Like,
or if you do that Black Mirror one they did, the sort of interactive one. Whatever that was called.
Bandersnatch.
Bandersnatch. I knew it was band something. Yeah.
That was an interactive movie. That was more like a video game than other things, but I still you're more you're more into the story that you choose to go down.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're still not as invested as, because ultimately you only choose whether they go like left or right or anything. You don't actually choose what they say at all times.
Yeah, and you're not moving around. You're not like really, are you?
And there isn't any like side things to add to your character story in it. Like you're only focused on the main story of that character. There's no like side things you can go off and do that add context to their story.
Yes, indeed. You are correct, my Padawan. But yeah, I mean,
I feel like I'm the master in this.
Which do you think better? Do you think an RPG is better with a voiced protagonist, or do you think it is better, and also their own character? Right, I'm going to go right on the other end of the spectrum. So, The Witcher 3, Geralt of Rivia, he says out loud all his lines. Game like Fable, great, who you're being, and they don't say a word. Well, they do, but they just don't, say it out loud. You're there to think of it for yourself. So which one do we prefer? What do you reckon?
In my opinion, the best one is the one where you get to make all the choices yourself in a role-playing game, because you're playing a role and therefore it makes more sense that you get to make all the choices, including the way that you interpret how your character says something. Because this was one of the main issues with Fallout 4, where you had the sarcasm option, but sometimes it wasn't sarcasm; it was just straight up aggression.
Yeah, true.
Then sometimes you were just unnecessarily rude to someone, when you could have just said a sarcastic remark that wasn't nearly as rude.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I always chose it because I'm a sarcastic bastard, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, of course you would. You're like of old. What about you, Dingle? Which one do you prefer?
I think, the story RPGs, I think they... See, I like the games where, like, it's... I'm not a big story... I like a little bit of the story, but I suppose it entices you into the actual game itself. I mean, Red Dead Redemption 2, I thought I'd give it a go, and I fell in love with the character. I didn't fall in love with, like, the story. It was just mainly the character. But I don't think stories should be in sports games, because I don't think you need them in sports games. But I do feel like, RPGs, you do need that little bit of to make you come back to see what happens next. So it's I don't think
you're more of a middleman with this
yeah.
Would you say more canon to the story in the series, like Fallout?
I asked something, but you weren't in the room, so you might not be aware of what we're talking about. Or are you? Did you hear us?
I did.
I was slinging my rope.
I meant SD. Sorry, I know it wasn't in the room when we mentioned it.
Oh, yeah, because I walked out.
Yeah, I was slinging my rope, so I wouldn't have known.
All right. Well, I was basically asking, bit of a random. Well, it's not that random, I guess. Talking about stories and games. In an RPG, do you prefer having a character like Geralt of Rivia, where it's named and he does the voice, or do you prefer it more like Fable, where you choose who you are and that you say the lines in your head type thing?
That's a hard one because games aren't advanced enough, and the game creators aren't quite privy enough to go. So, for instance, PlayStation 5 controller's got a fucking microphone on it, same as the Xbox. Say your own fucking responses, but they haven't got the whole AI response. So I guess you're stuck to the linear story approach where there's set dialogue. I suppose with Fallout 4 and Fallout 3, it's a case you select this dialogue and then the other cunt fucking starts speaking. But in Fallout 4, it's a case your own character speaks, and then there's just like this weird interaction between you and the other character, if you know what I mean. They've got positive marks on both the side. Time constraints, because to be fair, less people talking means more action. But at the same time, you kind of want to hear that story going on. More of like a movie style. This is what this guy says, and this is what this guy's response, if you know what I mean.
And it breaks it up as well, you know. You say your mission is to rescue some survivors on a spaceship. You break into the spaceship. You run into a survivor that's dying. There's dialogue. You find a journal. You read that. You bump into a alien. Do you know what I mean? There's all these little parts that play a bigger part within the story, and it gets you engaged. And it makes you want to play. It makes you want to play more. You know, doesn't it? Because you want to get
says, "Oh, thanks for the help." It's like, yeah, sure. I could have just left you to die, but you know, I'm helping.
Yeah.
That kind of like there's the attitude and the storyline to it.
Yeah.
I mean, games like FIFA, I wouldn't even bother.
No.
It's the same fucking game every fucking year. What's the point? Just update the fucking original. Call it FIFA forever. There's constant updates.
Yeah, it's just a GTA 5 of FIFA. Paul said For Honor has a good story. I've heard of it a long time ago. I never played it. I remember playing Fallout and I just roamed around cluelessly for 3 hours and then returned it. That sounds like you had a great laugh on that game then. I think these guys will have something to say about that. It's a Fallout Vesta, you know?
Yeah, boy.
I wouldn't be surprised in Morrowind, but I am surprised in Fallout because their quest markers are pretty fucking obvious.
Wait, have you played Morrowind?
Yeah, Morrowind. You get into it, and that's literally you look forward and go. There's like a really, really obscure reference to somewhere, and you're like, "Where the fuck do I go now?"
If you read the journal, it will tell you exactly where you need to go because it gives you directions. Or it tells you to go somewhere that's pay for something.
It's next to some obscure rock in the middle of fucking nowhere that you've never heard of.
Yeah, but it'll tell you what roads to go down.
If you don't get killed by cliff races.
Markers. The roads are literally not Roman roads, but you know what I mean. They're literally just stone cobbled roads with no fucking name to them.
It says start at this town and go either north, south, east, or west, and follow the path there.
But it doesn't have any road signs as well.
There's road signs on the roads sometimes. But
I'm following the path north. I keep following the path north. And there is literally no visible sign of how far I've gone. I have no idea.
I think we were in a time that we've properly grown up with. We become
like off a click miles away.
Well, we're much more privileged than older gamers. Like we've become very
lazy.
I'm trying to think of a fancy word. Become used to the dependent on stuff like that. Like it sounds bad, but if I get stuck on a puzzle on a game for too long, I will straight up YouTube it. I'm saying that live on this podcast right now. I will not take this off. I may sound like a bell end because half of our podcast is to do with gaming, but I've not got the patience for it. I just really haven't. I don't know if I've told you all this, but I would rather be stuck on a boss than stuck on a puzzle. Any day of the week. Any day of the week.
Well, I did that in Resident Evil Village. I had to find some of the codes, and it took me ages, so I had to Google it.
Amen. See, I'm not the only one. Team YouTube. But yeah, do you want to ask us final thoughts, Jen, if you want to do that?
Yeah, all right. I will go around starting with the single Pringle, Mr. Dingle. What are your final thoughts?
Ready to mingle?
Final thoughts with the Disney. I'm not really, I think the world's a bit too scared to say anything. So this is why they're trying to be friendly with everything, because they do. It's the copyright side of it again, and people don't want to be upset by other people, and that's that. The story to games, RPGs, yeah. Football games, no, don't need it. Sports games, it's like I've been playing FIFA again, but it's one of those games where I'll play for a couple of weeks and I won't play it again for another, 5 months. It's just one of them games. But that's my final thoughts on it, and yeah.
All right. I guess, Mr. R-Techz, what are your final thoughts on the gaming stuff, and then maybe everything else?
I think that the Disney thing. I mean, I've already made it painfully obvious that I think it's just not good. I feel SD's point of the fact that we need to be more original, and I've educated myself today thanks to Gem, because I didn't know that. I knew one or two were based off of something else. I didn't realise how much Disney depended on bloody other stories, like flipping heck. No wonder they bought Star Wars. They've got the whole universe at the disposal there. Probably only a matter of time before they nab Marvel, let's be honest. But yeah, no, I think you're falling down a thin line. I can't think of the saying. You're basically going spiraling down. If you think that you're doing the world good, representative, then by all means do it in a correct way, as stated. Do a proper story, original, new, and to be a well written story, and not pander to a crowd. Not virtual signaling. Just make it good. People come to entertainment to be, guess what?
Not a woke way.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, it's just, I don't care who the protagonist is, who the antagonist is. Just make the damn story good. Good start, good middle, good end. Boom, Bob's your uncle and Fanny's your aunt. These days, it might be the opposite. The other one, the gaming.
Fanny's your uncle.
Sports games, don't bother making a story. What's the point? I mean, I think the games industry have learned by that. They don't really, in general, do they? RPGs is a must, and all the little games in between. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, I think that's that's a broad one, isn't it? It's hard to pinpoint certain. But I've gone long enough. That's me.
SD, what are your final thoughts?
You know what? Tell you what, I'm gonna fucking condense this right down. With Disney, come up with original stories. They flog dead horses to pander towards less than educated retards because they want to fit some kind of fucking social narrative that no one wants, to very few who follow. And it just fucking blows my mind that we're heading towards a social credit system where if you don't agree with a social fucking narrative, you'll get fucking pushed down the fucking ladder, forced out of the banking system, just like Farage did. just because your views don't follow the fucking knobhead retards that have no clue on truthful society, where things happen and how things work, and that you could literally be thick as two short planks, but as long as you say the right words, you'll be pushed towards the highest of places because you agree with the social narrative. It just fucking blows my mind that we're heading towards communist China every single fucking day. Do not breed. Do not breed. Fuck off.
Okay. What about your final thoughts on the gaming topic?
Oh, you shouldn't have told him about that.
I fucking love a good story.
Okay.
I like a good story. I love sinking my teeth into a good story.
Amen.
And when the story ends, I'm depressed. But then I find a new story, and then as long as it's fulfilling as the last, it's great. It just really depends which kind of like games producer there is. Such as Bethesda, because I enjoy the world being in flames and lots of people dying, because it's down to its whole survival, where it's survival of the fittest rather than survival of the dumbest.
Yeah, so my final thoughts, the Disney stuff, I feel like I've pretty much explained my feelings on that entirely in my bit. So I'm not going to take fucking minutes in my final thoughts talking about that. As for the video game stories, it is a nuanced topic. Like, there's certain things where you have to talk about the story of it, and then there's certain things where it's like, why is there even a story here? But yeah, apart from that, yeah, that's how it is. Like you said, RPGs need stories. Games that have a single player element need to have some form of story. Whether it be something that you create yourself by choosing the way you play, or something that something that the developer says is
with the prompts.
So yeah, that's my final thoughts.
All right. Okay. Cool. Well, luckily, I've had all of your soundboard muted. Yeah. As soon as you guys started doing it in the first few minutes, I was like, I need time. You got to look somewhat damn professional here. All right, let's do a quick outro. I've been your boy, your cisgendered Caucasian man, whatever the heck you want to call me. And the night was good. I think tonight was one of the best ones, actually, and I enjoyed it. Good to chat with you guys as always, to discuss this and probably, get things off our chest, our points across, which I think SD definitely bloody did tonight. So let's do the correct plugins. Got Twitter, two of them actually, one with Gem and the main one, which is SD. And we have our boy Gem. Yeah, follow us, get our views up. People that have been watching, I know there's been more of two, because I've seen people come in and drop out, about 8 of you. So yeah, so follow us. Thank you, Paul and Bex, for tuning in. Appreciate that very much. You were good tonight. Appreciate that, Paul. Do you mean me or do you mean us as a whole? So we got this Dingle handles the TikTok side of things. We've got some gaming going on. Poppy Playtime has been our recent play thing. But it's all good in the damn hood. Everyone say your quick pieces and let's get out of it.
Follow us on there. If you like gaming, go check us out. We are all on there. We all do random games. It's fun. TikTok is just funny videos, funny clips of random shit. It's hilarious. Check us out on there if you like a giggle and laugh. I'm Dingle. I'm Dingle Games, and I'm out.
I'm Gem. Follow us on this YouTube channel, this Twitch channel, Dingle Games' YouTube channel. Some point, the end of next week or the start of the week after, the next episode of Straight Up Warlords will be out. I've got the rest of this weekend and next week to make the video. I just got to wait for a few bits from Diesel. Hopefully you've enjoyed this discussion. And yeah, that's me out.
Yeah, SD. Sorry for the complete breakouts tonight. It's just sometimes things just frustrate the fuck out of me, such as people believe that speed is bad. And we've got a story here that's recreated as something else. Like, no, fuck that off. Create your own story, you old bastard. Weird people who think mayonnaise is spicy. If you have enjoyed tonight, I want to know what kind of drugs you're taking because I want to take some. Good night from me.
Before we go, let's finish off with Paul. He said, what kind of mayo are you talking about?
Chipotle mayo is spicy.
Okay, well, we are not condoning taking speed or any other drugs, by the way. We haven't been sponsored by Heinz, so I don't think that when we're talking about mayo. Thank you, Paul, again. Thank you, Bex. And that is it. We've been the Straight Up Busters. Thank you for joining us tonight on this lovely Saturday. We'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.